Hey everybody, this is Bob, KK4DIV with 73 Outdoors, and today we're going to be talking about the new firmware for the Anytone D878UVII Plus, and the one feature that I think is a game changer for this radio. Stick around folks, you're not going to want to miss this one. Thanks for tuning in to 73 Outdoors today. Like I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about the new firmware for this D878UVII Plus. I found out about this new firmware by Reddit. I just happened to be perusing through Reddit and I saw somebody post about the new firmware and the feature that it had, and I said, that's pretty interesting. So of course, I went and did a little bit of research, and sure enough, that really is in the firmware. That feature has satellite capabilities. And when I say satellite capabilities, I mean, yeah, you could talk on the amateur radio satellites using this radio. But now it's got some predictive scheduling, or, predicts the passes that will be coming overhead for your location. It utilizes the GPS that's built into this thing, and will actually give you a little indicator and the path across the sky that it will be following for that given satellite that you choose. So it does give you a list of satellites. It looks like it goes about a day out into the future, looking at some upcoming satellites. And I did try this out yesterday, and I'll insert that later on to this video, me trying it out. But yeah, let's get into this. Let's see a little bit more about this firmware for this radio. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the Bridgecom Systems website for firmware downloads. And here on the right hand side we can see Anytone D878 V2 model CPS firmware downloads. So this is the radio I have. I have the UV2 Plus, and here at the top we see Anytone D878UVII Plus CPS 3.04 and firmware version 3.04, and that's the current version. So that's the one we're going to be talking about today. So this is the changelog and information about this version here, and if we scroll down, this is a PDF file that's included in the zip of the CPS software and firmware. So here we see the D878 firmware update. This was dated 9/15, so this is just a few days ago. This is brand new stuff. It says here, add satellite function. The radio will provide a predict list for the satellites which will transit recently. Select a satellite to check the frequency and transit time. Press push to talk button to transmit to the satellite. So yeah, and there's a couple other things here that it's not that important to me. I don't use any kind of it looks like encryption stuff for my radio. Of course, being a ham radio operator, we're not supposed to be using encryption on the ham bands anyway. So yeah, satellite use, that's pretty cool. We're gonna be testing that out. All right, let's see if we can get this radio. I'm gonna take this antenna off. Let me make sure that we're not going to be. All right, let's take this antenna off because I'm poking myself in the eyeball as I try to show this. Hopefully we don't have to push the talk button. Anyway, okay, so here we are in the this is your home screen here. I have it just on the VFO mode, but let's take a look at what this satellite prediction looks on the radio. This is kind of odd because it's backwards, trying to get this centered here. All right, so we're gonna go into our menu screen, and you can scroll down or up, either way. There is satellite right there, and we're gonna hit the green OK button. So here, this is location. So you can select a fixed location or a GPS location. Obviously, for the GPS location, you're going to want your GPS function turned on in the radio. but we already have it set to GPS function. So let's go down here to satellite, and we're going to hit the green OK button again. It's going to do some precipitating. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to say predicting. Somebody can't spell. Of course, being a Chinese radio, you probably got somebody that didn't know how to spell predicting. I don't know what precipitating is. Is that even a word? Precipitating? Who knows? Anyway, okay. So the top one looks like it is, sorry, I'm looking at the screen here on the computer. It looks like AO27. And I'm assuming, and I haven't really looked, I just kind of jumped into this. I saw this firmware and I just jumped into it. But I'm assuming that every satellite that's in here is still functioning to some extent. And I believe AO27 is. Oh gosh, it goes away. Okay, so let's go back down here to satellite again. We're going to go to satellites, and there we go. So let's click OK on the top one. So we can see here in 21 minutes and 30 seconds, we're having AO27. It's going to be a max elevation of 6 degrees. So not a very high pass on that one. It's probably not going to be worth trying out. So we can hit the back button here. Let's go down to the next one. This is going to be a Tevel satellite. And so, yeah, max 8 degrees on that. That's coming over in 23 minutes. Hit back. So these Tevels usually come one after another. Max 4 degrees, and they're usually pretty close. Yeah, 3 degrees. So we're missing out on that Tevel pass. Here's an ISS. I think this is a few hours out still, 3 or 4 hours. Yeah, 3 hours, 2 hours, 46 minutes. 1 degree pass, that's not going to do us any good. Here's another ISS pass. That's going to be a pretty decent one. 51 degree max elevation, comes over in about 4 hours and 20 minutes or so. So this is the screen we get. So up on this little display here is north. So this will be coming from, it looks like a maybe a southwest pass up to a northeast, so from southwest to northeast there, coming up overhead. So you can actually see this. Now, one thing I don't like about this, and it's not that big a deal, you just have to remember that, you know, the radio is always up. When I use the ISS detector on my phone, you can actually see as you turn around, the display, the icon moves. So whichever way you're pointing is how the phone displays. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Pull up ISS detector on my phone. Yeah. So you see on my phone here. Oh, sorry for the reflection. I got my lights. As you turn your phone, as you're looking in the different directions, that changes with you. So as you're turning around, you always see you can see which way you're looking. You can actually point your phone at the satellite that you're looking at, and you can kind of get a better idea of exactly where it is in the sky. Whereas this, no matter where you turn it, that stays the same. No big deal. It is what it is. So to have this icon on the screen while you're having the satellite transit across the sky is really that game changer. You don't have to have another device in your hand, your phone. You can just utilize this. Like I said, you have to understand that up is always north, so keep that into account. But yeah, that's really a game changer. And since it does the Doppler shift on here as well, you don't have to change channels as the satellite's moving across the sky for Doppler. So that's really a game changer there. KK4 DIV. So I am skeptical on this radio, on how it's going to perform for satellites. I did go out and do an ISS pass yesterday when I first installed this firmware, and we'll see how that goes right now. All right, so we're out here in the front yard. Got the Anytone D878UVII Plus ISS. Got a good pass coming overhead here. So we're just hopefully we can
make an ISS contact, at least hear it. So far I'm not hearing anything, but it's early on in the pass. And the cool thing about this is it does give you the azimuth and elevation on the screen here. It adjusts, looks like it adjusts for Doppler. And the one thing I don't like about it already is the azimuth and elevation diagram. The path doesn't rotate as you turn, so this always points up being north. So I have to kind of like think about which way it is, versus my phone as I turn, the diagram moves as well. So one thing I don't like. KK4 DIV calling CQ, Echo Mike 70. Well, I'm gonna have to say that was a bust. Either the software isn't working as it should, or the repeater could be turned off on the ISS, which is very possible. I know they turn it off at various times, so I should have looked. This was kind of a spur of the moment test. Just got home from work, so just kind of got the gear together real quick and came out here. So it's possible that the repeater was turned off, and this is just a moot point anyway.
Okay, so you can see that that didn't go too well. So I am, like I said, I'm a little skeptical on how this works. I think the pass that we had yesterday, just maybe the transmitter wasn't turned on, the repeater wasn't turned on, or maybe I was doing something wrong. I don't know. But I'm going to keep trying with this radio. So let's compare and contrast a couple of radios here. This is my Anytone radio. This is the Kenwood THD72, which is my go-to radio for satellite communications. Each radio has its pros and cons. One radio does some things better. The other radio does some other things better. So what about these two radios? Okay, first and foremost, this is DMR. So I like DMR. I do like to carry this radio. This is FM only. I end up not carrying this radio quite as often. This one does APRS. So does this one. APRS on this one kind of sucks. APR on this one, fantastic. You cannot beat the APRS on this Kenwood radio. My Yaesu radio does it very well too, but this just leaps and bounds above this one when it comes to APRS. For satellite functionality, yes, now both can do it. This is full duplex, so as you're keying up, you can hear yourself on the other band coming back down for the downlink while you're transmitting, so you know you're getting into the satellite or the ISS repeater. This one is not full duplex. This one has your satellite prediction on the screen here, so you can see the pass coming across the sky. You can see when it's going to be coming across. You see upcoming satellites. This will also update for or change the frequency for Doppler. You don't have to pre-program channels for Doppler shift in this. This will do it automatically. This one you have to program channels in for Doppler shift. So, which radio am I most likely going to carry? Probably this one. Number one, it's cheaper versus the Kenwood. This would cost a small fortune to replace because, number one, it's not made anymore. They're a very popular radio, kind of hard to come by. Cheaper to replace for the Anytone. It does DMR, so I like using DMR, so I'm probably going to find myself carrying this around more. The APRS kind of sucks on it. I wish it was better, more like this, but you know, it is what it is. I like DMR. It does FM very well, so, and it's going to be cheaper to replace if I lose it or break it or anything like that. So probably going to have this radio with me. If I'm just going to be doing satellites, I might still grab this. This is a great radio and I love it, but this one has its pros as well. But you know, with every new thing, there's going to be some bugs, and I have run into a couple bugs with this radio. I'm probably not going to get it to do it now. I did record it on my phone yesterday, so if I can't get it to do it now, I will attach my phone video here. But let's just try this. So let's go back to here. Let's go back down to satellite. And let's see here. We'll go down to satellites. Oh, now it's going to work. My problem yesterday was once I was in the satellites and I backed out and then I tried to go in again, it would lock the radio up. And then the only way to, I mean, the power button would not work. The power knob, I couldn't turn it off, turn it on. You'd turn it, you'd click, the radio would stay powered up. The only way to get it to reboot was to remove the battery. So that's something to consider, and you know, that's the price you pay for cutting edge firmware, I guess. Yeah, so now it's working fine, so it's going to work every time now, of course. But I did run into that, so be aware that there may be some little hiccups, some minor issues with this latest firmware. All right, folks, well, that's the new firmware, the 3.04 version for the Anytone D878UVII Plus. Yeah, interesting stuff, satellite capabilities, satellite predictive passes on the radio built in, adjusts for Doppler. You can see where the pass is coming overhead. Really cool stuff implemented in this radio. Still has some bugs in it. It caused it to freeze up. The APRS is still not all that great. So Anytone, I really wish you would, when you come out with a new version, maybe the version 3 of this, that hopefully the APRS is implemented a little bit better, has better components, or whatever it needs to be better. But this is still a great radio. I still love this radio. Does DMR great, does FM great. Now it may do satellites great. I still need to play around with it. I think I just had some bad luck yesterday with the ISS, but the verdict is still out on that. So if you do like this radio, I'm going to put a link in the description below where you can check it out from Bridgecom. Great radio. And if you like this video, as always, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we will catch you in a future video. Still hoping to get out and do some portable operating, maybe some parks on the air here real soon. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see y'all in a future video. Bye-bye.